this glorification of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Thursday, 18th April, Brisbane. So we are continuing with our glorification of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, the creation, chapter number 5, the Srila Nārada's instructions on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam for Srila Vāsudeva, and text number 37 today. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurube Namaha. Nama Om Viṣṇu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. So thank you all for joining today the glorification of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We are continuing with studying of what Srila Nārada Muni has to speak to Srila Vāsudeva. As Sneha Bhakti Mataji last Sunday mentioned in the class, how fortunate we are that we can actually associate with not only Lord Krishna, but also Srila Nārada Muni, Srila Vāsudeva, and then ultimately with our own Srila Prabhupada, when we study these verses carefully and diligently. So what I wanted to do is just speak one or two lines about the festival yesterday we had. The Ram Navami festival, which we had at the Hare Krishna temple in Burbank, was a wonderful display of the feeling of community what we have. We can see that everyone came together, worked very hard, maybe in the process took some anxiety. Of course, the ultimate result what Krishna gave us, so many people came, so many new people actually came. So many locals came, and we all chanted, danced, heard Ram Katha, took prasadam together in the very wonderful environment where beautiful decoration was there, nice Pushpanjali was happening, and some amazing kirtans were happening. Good Ram Katha. It was wonderful environment. And when we study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and come together like this, ultimately it culminates into a community where we all can traverse together very happily in this life and also in the next one. So what I want to do today is just read through some of the last translations so that we know the context. It is just, I thought it would be a nice revision for us. We spend a minute or so. So Nārada Muni is explaining his own life, and then he's giving instructions to Srila Vāsudeva. So I'll start from verse number 31. In the verse 30 also, he mentions that what he was instructed by the Bhaktivedantist was a most confidential subject. And in 31, then I'll read the translation from 31 to 37, and we'll unpack verse 37 after that. So verse 31, sorry. By that confidential knowledge, so again he's saying this is confidential knowledge, I could understand clearly the influence of the energy of Lord Shri Krishna, the creator, maintainer, and annihilator of everything. By knowing that, one can return to him and personally meet him. So this is Nārada Muni's assurance, his guarantee, his suggestion, his instruction, and his tip. That if you understand that if we work under the influence of the energy of Lord Krishna, who is the creator, maintainer, annihilator of everything, then we can return to him. 32. O Brahmana Vāsudeva, it is decided by the learned that the best remedial measure for removing all troubles and miseries is to dedicate one's activities to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So from here, he starts instructing us as to how we can mold our life and dedicate all our activities in the service of the Lord. O good soul, does not a thing applied therapeutically cure a disease which was caused by that very same thing? So our activities, as we said, we have to make a choice. Either we want to be, quickly advancing or quickly entangling. So that depends on the consciousness with which we do our activities. The same activity can be causing a disease, but it also can be therapeutically be the remedy for our own situation. 34. Thus, when all a man's activities are dedicated to the service of the Lord, those very activities which caused his perpetual bondage become the destroyer of the tree of work. Whatever work is done here in this life for the satisfaction of the mission of the Lord is called Bhakti Yoga, or transcendental loving service to the Lord. And what is called knowledge becomes a concomitant factor. So here, the emphasis on the word of mission of the Lord, and we know the mission of the Lord is to reclaim all the fallen conditioned souls like us. So we have to not only save ourselves, but also take part in the mission of reclaiming all the other souls by Krishna. While performing duties according to the order of Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one constantly remembers him, his names, and his qualities. So these are the instructions on the activities, what we are supposed to do and how we are supposed to dovetail our activities in the service of the Lord. And then what does it culminate in? This is the verse number 37. Let us all chant the glories of Vāsudeva along with his plenary expansions, Pradyumna, Aniruddha and Saṅkarṣaṇa. So this is verse number 37. Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Vāsudevāya Dhīmahi Pradyumnāya Aniruddhāya Namah Saṅkarṣaṇāya Ca. Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Vāsudevāya Dhīmahi Pradyumnāya Aniruddhāya Namah Saṅkarṣaṇāya Ca. Word to word, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om, the sign of chanting the transcendental glory of the Lord. Namaha, offering obeisances unto the Lord. Bhagavate, unto the personality of Godhead. Tubhyam, unto you. Vāsudevāya, unto the Lord, the son of Vasudeva. Dhimahi, let us chant. Pradyumnaya, Aniruddhaya and Saṅkarṣaṇāya. All plenary expansions of Vāsudeva. Namaha, respectful obeisances. Cha and translation and purport. Translation, let us all chant the glories of Vāsudeva along with his plenary expansions, Pradyumna, Aniruddha and Saṅkarṣaṇa. According to Pancharatra, Narayan is the primeval cause of all expansions of Godhead. These are Vāsudeva, Saṅkarṣaṇa, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. Vāsudeva and Saṅkarṣaṇa are on the middle left and right. Pradyumna is on the right of Saṅkarṣaṇa and Aniruddha is on the left of Vāsudeva. And thus the four deities are situated. You can Google, these four Chaturvyuhas and see the image of the four deities. They are known as the four aides-de-camp of Lord Shri Krishna. Aide-de-camp is basically a military term where, someone who's assisting the chief. So these four are assisting the chief, Lord Shri Krishna. We'll see into different activities. This is a Vedic hymn or mantra beginning with Omkar Pranava, and thus the mantra is established by the transcendental chanting process, namely Om Namo Dhimahi, etc. The purport is that any transaction, either in the field of fruity work or in empiric philosophy, which is not ultimately aimed at transcendental realization of the Supreme Lord, is considered to be useless. Nārada ji has therefore explained the nature of unalloyed devotional service by his personal experience in the development of intimacy between the Lord and the living entity by a gradual process of progressive devotional activities. Such a progressive march of transcendental devotion for the Lord culminates in attainment of loving service of the Lord, which is called prema, in different transcendental variegatedness called rasas, tastes. Such a devotional service is also executed in mixed forms, namely mixed with fruity work or empiric philosophical speculations. Now, the question which was raised by the great rishis, headed by Shaunak, regarding the confidential part of Suta's achievement through the spiritual master is explained herein by the chanting of this hymn consisting of 33 letters. And this mantra is addressed to 4 deities, or the Lord with his plenary expansions. The central figure is Lord Sri Krishna, because the plenary portions are his aide-de-camp. The most confidential part of the instruction is that one should always chant and remember the glories of Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with his different plenary portions, expanded as Vāsudeva, Saṅkarṣaṇa, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. These expansions are the original deities for all other truths, namely either Viṣṇu Tattva or Shakti Tattvas. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhaktivedanta purports ki jai. So here we can see that when we come to Krishna consciousness, before we came to Krishna consciousness, we, at least in my case, I did not hear the word Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when we come, when of course Prabhupada was, suggested that he should name his society as International Society for God Consciousness, Prabhupada said no. God, the word God can be very vague. It can have many meanings, different connotations. Prabhupada insisted on Krishna because Krishna is a particular person, as we see also in the first verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Lord Shri Krishna is described there without any gaps to be left. Here the 4 expansions, Vāsudeva, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Saṅkarṣaṇa are described. So these are the personalities, as we know, these are the Chaturvihas. So Vāsudeva is the predominating deity of our heart, and he is worshipped within the heart by meditation. These 4, when they're combined, they are of course in the spiritual sky, and they are famous as Mahavastha. Mahavastha means they are there as the big deities. So Vāsudeva is the deity of heart. Saṅkarṣaṇa, the second expansion, is the personal expansion for pastimes. And he is sometimes also called Jiva because he is the reservoir of all the living entities. And Saṅkarṣaṇa, of course, is very, very beautiful, very, very beautiful. Pradyumna is the deity of the total mind. Pradyumna is the deity of our mind. So whenever our mind is not under our control, we should actually pray to Pradyumna, the Pradyumna expansion of Lord Shri Krishna, that please help me to control my mind. And Aniruddha is the deity of the total ego, when all the true egos, not the false ego. Saṅkarṣaṇa is the expansion of false ego, the deity of the false ego, whereas Aniruddha is the deity of the total ego, the true ego. So these are the aspects what Prabhupada describes here, and Prabhupada says in this the 3rd paragraph that we should aim at only pure devotional service, and pure devotional service will take us to prema. And of course, in prema also, as Prabhupada describes here, there's a lot of variety. And as our spiritual master says, that there are unlimited number of gopis in the spiritual world. So obviously, there will be unlimited varieties of rasas in the spiritual world. So what happens in our life is when we chant Hare Krishna in the morning, we ask for the service. We say, please accept me, Krishna, and please accept me, and please engage me in my devotional service. So as we saw in these verses, that we have two choices. Either go towards advancement in Krishna consciousness or entanglement. The same activities will help us in getting advanced or in getting entangled. Here, the cycle is given us for either we choose for vicious circle of entanglement or the precious circle of service and chanting. As we know, when we chant nicely, we get more service. And then we do more service, then we can chant better. Basically, we need to plan our day in such a way that service and chanting goes hand in hand. And yesterday's festival was a true example of how everyone got together in service. We did the service for the pleasure of Lord Sri Ramachandra, Srila Prabhupada, and all the devotees and guests who came there. Everyone was happy. It was a nice mood. So our service became successful. In chanting, Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually gives us 6 qualities of our chanting. Of course, we won't have time for all of them, but I want to just focus on one of them. The first is Manha Samskaranam. Manha Samskaranam means that our mind should be controlled. So, the mind is going everywhere, and when we are controlling the mind is going to all the material objects, but we tell the mind, come back, come back, come back to the holy name. Shaucham, of course, we know is the cleanliness. And when we get up in the morning, when we start chanting our rounds, externally, we want to have a nice space. As they say, each of us have our sacred space. Some people go for a japa walk, whatever. But the cleanliness, both external and internal cleanliness, is very much required. And imagine you're doing the most sacred activity of the day and we are not clean. There's a lot of dirt, there's a lot of dust. Yes, no, we want a place which is clean both externally and internally. We take shower, we chant our mantras, and then we start chanting our rounds. Yes, externally we can have shaucha, but internally we'll be able to be clean. We can, stay away from the dirt and dust and all the dirty things in our life by living a life of sattva guna. That means even our activities must be in the mode of goodness. Our service, of course, must be there. So when we do more service, that means, as Nārada Muni explains here, that let us all chant the names of the Lord. So then we'll chant the names of the Lord very nicely. And when we chant again nicely, then the day also goes in nice sattva guna, sometimes shuddha sattva guna when we are engaged in nice service like hearing and chanting Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So this shaucham is very, very important. And that helps us in planning our day so that we chant in the morning, ask for service, do some service during the day, whatever it is, and then spend the rest of the day in sattva guna. Mauna. Mauna, of course, means, Prabhupada says, Mauna doesn't mean, keep quiet, no speaking. Mauna means speak nothing except Krishna's stories, Krishna Katha, Krishna Kirtan, discussing about our services to Lord Krishna. That's Mauna. Mauna means basically the mind is Mauna. Mind is not speaking about anything else except Krishna. Mantrartha Chintanam. Mantrartha Chintanam, of course, means the focusing on the artha of the mantra. And as we said, that when we do mantrartha chintana, mantrartha chintana means, oh Krishna, please accept me and please engage me in your service. Gopal Guru, as we know, he has given us many other meanings of the words Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Gopal Guru says, yes, oh mind, oh Krishna, oh holy names of Krishna, please let me control my mind. Oh holy names of Krishna, please send me association of devotees who can enthuse me. Oh Krishna, please allow me to take part in the pastimes of the divine couple. So these are the different ways. If you want to Google the meanings of the 16 words, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Gopal Guru has given very nice meanings to each of these words. And when we meditate on these words, this is the mantrartha chintanam. Avyagratva. Avyagratva means patience. We need to be patient. Of course, our hearts are not going to change in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, even one lifetime. So we have to be very much patient. We don't have to be, rushing into our practice. Imagine rushing into doing something which we love the most. We want to spend time with, the beautiful forms of Radha and Krishna, the beautiful names of Radha and Krishna. And we are rushing. When will I finish my rounds? No, we have to be patient. Patiently chanting our holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. While same time hearing and chanting, focusing on the meaning of the mantra, patiently, lovingly chanting these mantras. Just imagine if we are with someone who we love and we want to find out when will this time finish? When will I do something else which is more important? How would the other person feel? Not very nice. So that way, when we are in the association of, the holy names of Krishna, we should be loving, we should be patient, we should be attentive. So avyagratva means that patiently and lovingly we must chant the holy names of the Lord. And Anirveda, the last quality is Anirveda, which is steadfastness. So this is very similar to what is determination. So Nirveda means indifference. I'm indifferent to you. But Anirveda means no, I'm not indifferent. I'm going to somehow or the other, come to you. So Anirveda means steadfastness. No matter whatever happens, Krishna, as we know, the mercy of Krishna, how much he reveals to us depends on him. But how much we have the greed, how much we want to put in this relationship depends on us. So when we are patient and when we are steadfast in our chanting, when we understand that the artha of this mantra is that please engage me in my service, then on a daily basis, we will not only chant nicely, but will also serve nicely. So this I thought, some of the purports of the meaning of this shloka verse. If there's any comments or questions before we move on to the next verse, please unmute and ask or speak. Okay, so we move on to verse number 38. Anyone who wants to recite this verse, please? Verse number 38. Anyone?
I'll try, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Iti murti abhidhanena mantramurti mamurtikam yajite yagna purushanam sasamyak darshana puman.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mataji. Can you recite once again?
Iti murti Iti murti abhidhanena mantramurti mamurtikam yajate yagna purushama sasamyak darshana puman.
Can you also read the word to word, please, Mataji?
Yes, sir. Thus, murti, representation, abhidhanena, in sound, mantra murtim, form, representation of transcendental sound, amurtikam, the Lord, who has no material form, yajate, worship, yagna, Viṣṇu, purusham, the personality of Godhead, sa, he alone, samyak, perfectly, darshana, one who has seen, puman, person.
Thank you, Madhuri.
Thank you.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: Thus is the actual seer who worships in the form of transcendental sound representation, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Viṣṇu, who has no material form. So now Nārada Muni is advising us, yes, if we want to be the actual seer, we have to also see the Lord in the form of transcendental sound representation. In our times, it is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Our present senses are all made of material elements, and therefore they are imperfect in realizing the transcendental form of Lord Viṣṇu. He is therefore worshipped by sound representation via the transcendental method of chanting. Anything which is beyond the scope of experience by our imperfect senses can be realized fully by the sound representation. A person transmitting sound from a far distant place can be factually experienced. If this is material possible, why not spiritually? This experience is not a vague impersonal experience, it is actually an experience of the transcendental personality of Godhead, who possesses the pure form of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. When I came to Krishna consciousness, I came across in the temple a book which most of you would have heard about and also have in your library, the book called Sri Namamrita. And I was thinking, what will this book have? And then it is, of course, we know, collection of all the quotes from Prabhupada's books on the Amrita, the Amrit of the holy name. And when you actually go through those verses and purports and the description, it's just fascinating. Why? Because it's just not describing anything which we can see or which we can anything, but it's just describing the sound vibration. And so many aspects, so many qualities are given. And then when we come to Krishna consciousness, we also understand, actually, after coming to Krishna consciousness, our senses become more active. Earlier, we never ever, especially in my case, I never ever thought, that an experience can be had, separately with our nose, with our eyes, with our ears, with our tongue, with our touch. But when we come to Krishna consciousness, we can actually experience this. Rukmini Devi, she heard the glories of Krishna and she got attracted. The wives of Brahmanas, they heard about the glories of Krishna and they got attracted. Even in our case, we see the murti of beautiful Archa Vigraha of the Lord in the temples and we get attracted. We see, we hear the nice kirtans being sung and we get attracted. We taste nice prasadam and we get attracted. So this way, what Prabhupada has done is basically converting our material senses into spiritual senses. Because with our material senses, as Prabhupada says, we cannot experience the form of Lord Viṣṇu. In the beginning, of course, when the devotees used to say that when they came to the temple, nicely decorated altar, they see, more than seeing the deities, they would actually see the flower vases, the decoration, which was there. So even when they were in front of the deities, they would actually see not the deities, but everything else. We will unpack this verse more tomorrow again. It's already 7 o'clock. So if anyone has any questions or realizations, reflections, please unmute, and then we'll continue tomorrow. Anyone? All right. So you have a very wonderful devotional day. Granth-Raj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Bhakti-Rai Prabhu Das ki jai.
Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Krishna willing.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you.
Hare Krishna.